Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning to our folks who are hopping on live with us here. Hello to everyone watching us on the replay. Welcome. It is July 3rd, and this is our free monthly creative community gathering. We call it Connect and Create. If you're new here, I'll just give you a quick rundown on how these calls work, what you can expect, and then we'll get going. So this is our casual, real chill, creative hangout once a month. It is here to be just a free and easy, accessible part of our community that anybody can come into. Anyone who's kind of curious what we do here, how we do it, what we're like, and wants to just check us out, can come into this space with us anytime. We start with some kind of a grounding meditation just to get sort of focused and present. Then you are welcome to have with you an art journal, a sketchbook, a work in progress, something you've been working on, and be making art if you want. You're also totally welcome to just call in and listen. You can be driving to work, you can be at work and just have your headphones in or whatever. I will usually talk a little bit about some creative topic that's on my mind today. I will sometimes today I'm actually going to teach a little practice, which you are invited to join me in if you'd like. I don't always do that. Today felt like a good day to invite you into a little creative practice with me. It's one I've never taught before, so this is brand new. And then I'll chat a little bit just about our community, about the Creative Compass community, about what's currently going on. If there are any invitations open for things you can jump in and join us with, I'll go through those. And then we always save some time at the end just for anyone who wants to share. And by share, I mean we just talk about like what we're working on creatively, what's going on in our creative life, or what's not going on in our creative life, whatever you want to share. Sort of, we used to do this through a Facebook community, which, as I've shared, was really lovely for a time until some things started shifting on Facebook and it wasn't really getting our needs met there. So we used to have a once a month post on Facebook where people were invited to share what they're making, share pictures, and for a long time that was really great. And then it was not so much. So it's always been really important to me to have some part of this community that is free and accessible to anyone and here for anyone who wants to come in. And so this is how we're doing it right now. And I have enjoyed these calls very much. They're always a nice little creative rejuvenation, a little creative reset at the start of the month. Um, for me, and I hope they have been for you as well. And as always, if you can't make the time, I always record and upload these to my my YouTube channel, and you can watch them there for free, as whenever you'd like at your convenience. All right, so at this point, I'm going to invite you into a little grounding. And if this is new to you, if you've never done this before, we always in this community, we pretty much always start everything we do with just a moment. We close our eyes, we take a few deep breaths, we just get centered and present and connected literally to the ground. And I know a lot of you have heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again. Um, if you have never tried incorporating a quick, easy grounding practice into your creative life, it is a game changer. And it can be as simple as closing your eyes and taking a deep breath. Just taking that one beat to pause and shift gears before you dive into a creative endeavor is absolutely game changing. We live our modern world, our modern lives we are like attacked with input all day long. I've talked a lot about that. A lot of you have heard me talk about that. And just to take one beat, one breath, and tune that out for a minute, tune inward. We can hear our own inner voice, we can hear our own inner wisdom, and that is when the creative inspiration flows in. So it is just absolutely game changing. Highly recommend. So I always say if you're, wanting to do this on your own, at home in your own practice, I always say close your eyes, find your breath, find the floor, right? Feet on the ground, eyes closed, breath. That's all it is to it. Three quick steps. It can take less than 1 minute. If you want to get a little bit friskier than that, if you want to add a little step four, I would say the step four would be speak to yourself like a mantra, some kind of affirmation of like one I use frequently is this is my time to create. Because something I struggle with in my creative practice is just guilt-free claiming my time and space to be creative. If you struggle with perfectionism, maybe your mantra is, it can be playful, not perfect, or, just speak some affirming words um, that focus your creative energy. All right, so having said all that, I just invite you to, again, get your feet on the floor if that's possible. Be still in whatever way it feels good to you. If you've been, if you want to stand, if you want to sit, if you want to lay on the ground, whatever feels good and supportive to you is awesome. I like to put one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly. That helps me find my breath. Close your eyes if that feels good. And we're just going to take a nice, deep, nourishing breath. And if you feel like you need another one, take another one. I know it's early, but sometimes, I know about you, I've already driven my kids to summer camp, had one of them, my 14-year-old, had a pretty epic meltdown over something this morning. Sometimes we've already lived a day by 10 a.m. Just take a couple of deep, nourishing breaths. And if it feels like it would support you as you notice those breaths moving in and out, see if you can just make each breath a little deeper, a little bit longer, bring a little bit more oxygen into the system. Just take a conscious moment and release whatever you were doing before you stepped into this space. Whatever you were reading in the news, or you were having a triggering conversation, or even just a train of thought, something running through your head that doesn't need to follow you into your creative time. Just sort of mentally set that down. Sometimes I imagine like I'm closing a door. Like those things aren't going to disappear. I'm just putting them on the outside of this door for the next hour, right? They will always be there waiting for you on the other side. Just take a minute and acknowledge the surface beneath you, your feet on the floor, right? We call it grounding because we're really making contact with the ground, literally. We live a lot of our modern lives up in our head. Bring it back down to the body, back down to the ground. If you want to, I always like to end by placing my hands on my heart and seeing if there is, if you want to, if you have words you want to speak to your heart space, some words of love, self-love, affirmation, or maybe if you're listening, maybe there are some words that sort of come up from your heart space. Like, what does your heart want to speak to you? All right, go ahead and whenever you feel complete in that process, you can gently come back into our shared space here. I'm going to talk for a little while. You are welcome to have, again, something you're working on. You can be doodling, sketching, painting. You can be drinking your coffee and eating your breakfast, whatever supports you this morning. This call is here for you. It is always my deepest hope that you get off this call feeling lighter, happier, more creatively energized than when you got on it. So do what supports you. I'm just going to share real quick. I'm drinking out of my Bob Ross mug this morning, that my children gave me for Mother's Day, and it's one of those like heat reactive mugs. So when you pour the hot liquid in it, the background picture, which you can see it's gone now, so my coffee is like lukewarm. But when you pour the hot coffee into it, a painting, like a Bob Ross style painting, appears in the background, which is fun. Um, Apparently my coffee's cooled off because it's black again. No, it's still warmish, but not warm enough to activate the picture. But anyway, because my kids know he's one of my creative heroes. All right. So, what is going on in the world right now that we want to chat about? I wanted to share about something that I experienced about a week ago. So, I do, in addition to teaching in this community online, I do also teach out in the real world from time to time. I live in Connecticut in the northeastern United States, and I have a yoga studio in a neighboring town that I teach at occasionally. It's a really cool. She has these Friday classes that she offers that are where she brings in guests that are like not yoga, but sort of holistic health adjacent. And the woman who owns the studio has this like strong value of encouraging her members to get out of their comfort zone. So she likes bringing in teachers who like challenge people just a little bit out of their comfort zone. And it's funny because I don't necessarily think of myself that way. Like my workshops are like super, zen and relax, and we play quiet music and we move paint, but it's amazing how much that really does challenge some people out of their comfort zone. And not you guys. You guys are all like you're here on purpose, right? You guys are here because you're already, creatives and you like the way we do creativity here in this community and you know, but when I'm out in the real world, out in the wild, I do encounter a lot of people who find what I teach and what we do here in this community to be really challenging, really outside their comfort zone. And I just am always so fascinated by it. And so last week, this studio was celebrating their third anniversary, and they threw this big, like they closed down the street, this little street they're on, and did this big community yoga thing, like out in the street. It was really cool to be a part of. And the teacher invited me. She wanted to have like some vendors, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to come and sell artwork?" And so I did, and I did sell some artwork. But I was like, I want to be more hands-on than that. I don't want to just like set up my table and sell artwork. So I came up with the idea of creating a community, like a piece of community art, something that I could just put out that anybody could stop and participate in. And I just kept it really simple. It was like a piece of drop cloth canvas and literally, when I bought it, it was folded up. So when I unfolded it, it had sort of like a grid inlaid on it by like the creases of the way it was folded. And I was like, I'm just gonna lean into that and divide it into squares. I wrote the name of the yoga studio on it in big letters and just invite people to paint a square. Like I felt like that was enough structure. They were like, here, paint this little square, do whatever you want with it. And it was just so the people who stopped and painted with me, which was super fun, fell into like two camps. There was like one camp that was like, um, they'd say like, I used to really love I was really creative when I was a kid, or like I used to love to paint. Like, oh my, like this is so fun. I should do this more. A lot of I used to be super creative. I used to love to paint. And I gave all those people an invitation to the next time I'm teaching a class at the yoga studio for sure. Um, and then there was this second camp of people who are like, okay, I'll paint a square, tell me what to do. And it was like, oh, there's no rules. Paint and that was like the most terrifying thing I could have said to them, which is just so fascinating. I said there were these two women there, and I said, they were, you could tell this was stretchy for them. And I said, he can't do it wrong. And they were like, oh, ha 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 ha, that's so funny. Of course he can do it wrong. And I was like, no, really, you can't. Like, there isn't a definition of wrong here. You're just you're filling a square with. I was like, you can pick one color, paint the whole square one color. Like, there's no, like, but the thought that there was no right and wrong way to do it was very uncomfortable. And now wasn't really, I was thinking if I was on a coaching call with these people, we would so explore that. Like what was, but given that we were on a street doing community art in public, I wasn't gonna, push them, but so fascinating. And there were, I got a few declines, a few like, oh no, I'm not very creative. And I was like, pick one color, paint the whole square your one color, it's fine. And I did get a few like no thank yous. And I swear there were a few people who came to me, like saw what we were doing and crossed the street so that I wouldn't, so that they didn't have to like uncomfortably say no when I invited them to paint. So just always so fascinating. And that's what we do. That's why I do what I do. That's why, we've unfortunately been taught a lot of really ridiculous rules about, or we've really, and whether we were taught them directly or not, like we internalize all these rules about like who is allowed to be creative and how that we are allowed to be creative and what are the parameters we need to stay in. And, that can have, I'm not opposed to structure. I think structure can be very important to our creative lives, but yeah, man, is it interesting. And one woman who was struggling a little bit was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get my daughter. Hold on. And she came back with a young child. And the young child, of course, didn't even hesitate. She was like, I like this color and this color and this color and this color. And then once in the presence of her daughter, the mom was able to release a little bit. And I think we've talked about that here. I don't remember in what context we were talking about it, about how sometimes your children or your grandchildren or your friends' children or whatever child you're in the present of is kind of gives you permission to be childlike again in your creative work. So anyway, I didn't anticipate it being such a sort of fascinating lesson in human psychology, but it was. It was. And so what I was thinking about is here we're in summer, we're in July, like we just passed through the solstice. This is like the height of summer. So if you don't know, here we root a lot of what we do really into the seasonal energy. We do that because the cycle of seasonal energy is very analogous to the cycle of creativity. And learning to work with seasonal energy is going to help you in your creative life. And I am in the Northern Hemisphere, so we're rooted in the season changes of the Northern Hemisphere. But all of the energies we work with are, again, part of being creative. So they're going to support you no matter what hemisphere you live in. And this height of summer that we're in, we just kind of crossed through the height of summer. It's very wild and even like chaotic, the energy of this time of year. I don't know if you all feel that. If you feel it in I know I feel it every summer. And, my art life tends to be a little all over the place this time of year. That might not be your experience, but, and for a long time, I had a lot of judgment about that for myself. Like, why can't I get it together? Why can't I just be like structured and all the other words we use to consistent and until I really understood working with seasonal energy, I was like, this is not the time for structured and consistent. And like some of us have more of that built into our personalities naturally. And so we're always kind of structured and consistent, and that's fine. That's not, a negative thing. But for those of us who lean a little more towards the random chaotic in our nature, this is the time that's going to be amplified. So if you're feeling that, if you're feeling the sort of creative chaos energy, that is normal, that is natural. And um, I always like to remind myself and others that like when the fall, like September is coming, it'll be even August brings in like the energy starts to ground even in August. Yeah, and we're through, the days are getting shorter. I know we hate to say that, but it is, we've crossed the solstice. Um, these the that fire energy in summer, right? It's gonna start to come back down. So if you're missing and craving the more structured energy in your creative life, it's coming. It's all coming back. So no need for alarm. Kelly, do you want to share something? Do you have your hand up? No, you're just okay. Just checking. Yeah, you're welcome to. If anyone something comes in that you want to share, everybody's welcome for our live folks here. So how are we doing on time? All right, good. At this point, I would like to invite you if you want to do a little summer creative activity with me. This is an invitation. It's optional if you're feeling called. If you're deep in process with something else that you want to keep going on, totally okay. But it's a little, I'm gonna write a little summertime poem, and it's gonna be guided. It's something anyone can do. This is based on a process that I learned in the intentional creativity teacher training that I completed recently. Um, my own little spin on it. And so basically, we're going to work with some summer nature imagery and see if that inspires, your artwork, your artwork this summer. If you're looking for a place to land, if you're feeling that summer chaos, and you could use like a little place to land in your creative life. So grab it if you want to play along. If you want to play along at home, grab a paper and a pencil, and that's all you need. And I'm gonna give just it's like 4 steps. It's like 4 simple steps, and you're gonna have a really cool poem when we're done. Don't let the word poetry scare you, just like those folks who were a little out of their comfort zone when I invited them to paint. This might feel a little bit out of your comfort zone. That's fine. That's good for us. That little creative stretch. Okay. So step one, I invite you to write 3 things that you love from nature, specifically in summertime, like 3 things. So maybe like off the top of, and again, don't overthink this. This is like, boom, what 3 things pop into your head? So I might write like ocean, um, roses. I really love roses. Um, maybe like tree. I love all the green trees in summer. So just that simple. 3 words, 3 things from nature that you love. An animal, a plant, a land feature, a water feature, whatever comes up. And really, like, as always, you guys, those of you who've been around here for a while, everything I offer is an invitation, not an instruction, right? So I said 3 things, but you're like, Amy, 4 things popped into my head, or, these are guidelines, not rules to follow. Go as you're led, as always. All right, so your next step 2, your next invitation is take those 3 things, or however many you came up with, and turn it into a 3-ish, again, not a hard, fast rule, word phrase. So for example, if I wrote ocean, maybe that would become ocean waves crashing, or mysterious ocean depths, right? Something, so we're taking that word and expanding it into a 3 or 4 word phrase. Or two, I feel like poetry is like the most rebellious form of writing, right? There are no rules. Break the rules. Give you a couple minutes to think on that. All right, now once you've got your little phrases, your three phrases there, the next step is to put the words I am in front of each of those phrases, or I am the, whichever feels grammatically appropriate. I am. And voila, you have a beautiful poem. And I'm going to give you one more invitation. Just look at it and see if anything else feels like it's coming through. Maybe do you feel like it needs a closing line, or one of the lines needs a tweak now that you sort of get the format, or does it want a title? So just see if there's any other finishing touches your poem is asking for today. The first time I did that activity, it was profound. Like once we got to the step where we added I am, it was like, wow, that's all of a sudden that is a profound piece of poetry. And so as we continue our call and continue our time together today, you are welcome to, I mean, if you have something else you're working on, awesome. If you're just hanging out today, awesome. If you feel like it, see if that poem you just wrote inspires any imagery. You could decorate the paper that the poem is written on, or maybe it, inspires some other summer imagery that you want to work with in your creative life. So you can go ahead and see where that takes you. And when we get to our sharing time at the end, if anyone wants to share their poem, you may, of course. All right, so for our time here, this is the time on our call where I talk a little bit about the Creative Compass community, about what's going on in our community that you might not know about, what invitations are open if you are looking for another opportunity to create, to make intuitive art, to be creative. So the first thing I'm going to talk a little bit about is just like what is happening, like what's ongoing presently. There are two things. First of all, if you don't know, if you're new around here, if you don't know, we have every month in this community, there is an intuitive painting workshop. If you're curious what those are like, there is always a theme. The theme is somehow rooted in the seasonal energy of where we are in the turn of the year, as I said before. Um, those themes come to me very intuitively. Um, the July workshop, I'm still, I think I know what the theme is, but I'm still dialing in like what I'm going to call it. Sometimes I share on this call what the next one is, but I don't think I'm going to share it today because I'm still dialing it in exactly I'm going to call that workshop. Um, But yeah, if you're curious what those workshops are like, they are 90 minutes. We start with a little discussion. We chat about the theme. I usually share like what I things I've discovered or learned about the theme. I invite everyone else on the call to share. And then we move through a very gently guided, very open-ended, free-flowing, intuitive process. It works there's usually like 3 or 4 layers. I give a structure that you may follow along with, but you are always invited and welcome to sort of go wherever your own personal muse is leading you. That's what we do here. We learn to follow our own intuition, but I always like to provide enough structure and guidance so that if this is brand new to you, you don't feel overwhelmed or lost along the way. And we flow back and forth between some intuitive painting and some prompt writing. And the reason we do that is because the intuitive painting process puts you in this beautiful state of brain, body, heart, soul connection. This really receptive state of mind. Some people call it flow state, where you're really open to receiving your own wisdom, your own inner wisdom. So it's opens you up for a lot of ahas, a lot of downloads, a lot of those moments where like the wisdom comes through. So we paint a little, then I'll give a prompt that you can write a little, then we paint a little, then we write a little. Um, and then we kind of land it at the end, like what the wisdom was that this theme had for us. They are a whole lot of fun. They are always super interesting. Um, it is $30 to grab a ticket and come to one workshop. We also have a membership. If you are in the membership community, you are on the guest list for every workshop for a whole year. Um, that's why our membership community is called Create All Year, because it was created with the intention of keeping your creative life in motion all year. Um, so if that sounds good, if you're like, I want to keep my creative life in motion all year, that can be super challenging. You might be interested in our membership. If you just want to, take a peek, check it out, see what we do here, what it's like, then you can grab a $30 ticket any month and come to a workshop and check it out with us. The folks in our membership get an additional call that we call our studio session, which I don't teach anything in that calls. That's more like we gather in community, we talk about what's going on in our art lives, we bring our own creative work, we share, we talk, we play some fun music. It's like a little creative hangout party. But again, the intention is it gets creativity on your calendar every month in a rhythm, to keep you in that flow, keep it going. So that's going on. We have, yeah, you might know our summer coaching program is going on. That has closed. Has closed on that, but that is our one-on-one creative work for folks who are looking for some support, just with whatever their next creative dream is. And that's ongoing in the summer. I offer that every summer. And then I want to talk a little bit about the fall, which will be here just before we know it. Um, Last year, I sort of beta launched what I will describe as the creative program of my dreams, the one that I have been dreaming about offering since I started this business. Took me a few years to like build up the courage to offer it. But the timing really felt right last year, so I threw it out as a beta. Um, for like a brave group of, when you're offering something for the first time, it's like I have no proof of concept, I have no reviews, I have no proof that it's going to be amazing, but I think it's going to be amazing. What do any brave souls want to give it a try with me? So I had 8 amazing women step in last year to my beta program. It is called Intuitive Art School. Um, and it is a deeper dive into creativity, intuition, all things related to that. And it was every bit as amazing as I hoped it would be. The women who stepped in were all in, and they were there for the experience, and it was phenomenal. So we dive into working with seasonal rhythms, with how do you connect to your intuition, how do art, what is the intersection of art and intuition, creativity and intuition. All of it's like the place where I put all of the things that I love talking about the most, or that I love teaching the most, that I love giving to other people the most. And it's a 6-month program for those who are really feeling ready for a deeper dive. So, deeper dive with art and intuition. So if that piques your interest, I will be relaunching that program sometime in the fall. I don't have the exact details put together yet, but I just wanted to throw that out on everybody's radar. Now that I have taught it once, I'll be tweaking a few things. That was like my, experimental year last year. Worked out a few things, tweaked a few things. I've got some testimonials from our women who did it last year, so we can share with you, just what a great experience it was. So if that piques your interest, keep that on your radar. There will be probably in August. But Kelly, did you want to share?
I just wanted to ask, because I participated in that and it was life-changing. I mean, it was amazing. Are you going to offer it for the whole community again? Will those that have done the pilot, been part of that, will they have an opportunity to sign up again if they want to work on something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely, Kelly. Yes. Kelly
good
was
to
one of
know.
our beta testers on Intuitive Art School. Um, and yes, I would, if you did the beta and you want to do it again, 100%, you would be welcome to sign up again.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be similar, but it won't be exactly the same. There were a few things, um, as Kelly knows, I got a lot of feedback from my beta testers, some structural things that, I was playing with, I was experimenting with, a couple tweaks to the content. And so new
Wonderful.
and
Thank you.
improved. Yeah, 100%. I would love to have, yeah, and that's the thing. That's always the thing about this work, this like intuitive creativity work. It's always, when I started the membership, I did the same thing. I kind of did like a beta year. And then my first year, I reused my workshop themes. And I remember just being so amazed, like you can do the same process with the same prompts and the same theme and the same process, and you come out with something entirely different because the way we make art here, it's born of a moment, right? It's born out of the emotions and the time and the place and the season that we're in right now. That's something, and I would say the same thing about our work of intuitive art school. You can go through the same topics and the same activities and the same prompts and come out with a completely different learning experience because you're a different person, right? It's been a year where it's a different year, it's a different world, we're a different person, we're not stagnant as creatives and as humans. So, yeah, you definitely could do it twice. Um, yeah, yes, thank you, Kelly, for asking that. Yeah, so I am expecting, hopefully by August, I will have some solid information out on that, dates and times and things. And then we'll launch in the fall, September, early October, maybe, depending on, life. Okay, and oh yeah, one more thing I wanted to share, just for those of you, if you're in the membership community or if you're thinking about joining us for our July workshop, just a quick calendar note. Our usual rhythm here is the third Thursday of the month, we do our workshop. If you're in the membership, the fourth Thursday of the month is your studio session. Um, July has 5 Thursdays. Yeah. And my family is going on vacation for one of them. So this month, the workshop is going to fall on let me make sure I say this right. The workshop is going to fall on the fourth Thursday, and the studio session is going to fall on the fifth Thursday. So a little bit later in the month, I will be away with my family that third week there of July. So, and if you're in the membership, that came in your newsletter yesterday, the the dates and things. Yeah, our members also get a newsletter once a month from me, a little bit more in depth than just the weekly emails that everybody gets. Um, oh, they contain a lot of things, but some more concrete action steps you can take, journal prompts, things that you could do in your creative life. Just again, the idea being that the membership keeps your creativity in flow all year. So we have kind of those three big touch points of the newsletter, the workshop, the studio session, and then of course everybody is invited to our Connect and Create call, which we're doing right now. Yeah, I try really hard not to mess with that third Thursday, fourth Thursday rhythm, but sometimes in the summer, things, again, that summer chaos energy shakes things up. So luckily for me, there's an extra Thursday this month. All right, so let's see. We are at 10:45 my time. I'm gonna just invite everyone to be in whatever creative process they're in for like 5 more minutes or so. I'll stop talking for a little bit, and then I'm gonna invite our folks who are live here if anyone wants to share about um, anything, what's going on, what you're up to creatively, what's going on, what's on your what's on your easel, what's in your art journal. If you want to share the poem you wrote today, that'd be awesome. Really, whatever you're called to share. And that's my favorite part of the call because it's always where I pick up little bits of inspiration. Someone's using an art medium I've never tried before, or, thinking of something in a different way than I've ever thought it before. And there's so much value in community in our creative lives. Sometimes we think culturally we're fed this sort of myth of the lone wolf artist who's sort of like in the woods somewhere. I'm from New England. Like we hear like the Henry David Thoreau, I went into the woods, to totally be separate from society's story a lot. I've been to Walden Pond. Um, we're given that image of the lone artist, and I don't think that's accurate. I think especially as a community that is mostly women, I think our community flourishes in community. Certainly there are moments where it's just us and our easel or, whatever. That's part of the process. But yeah, don't underestimate the importance of the ingredient of community with other creatives in your creative life. All right, I'm actually going to stop talking for a few minutes and then, yeah, I will invite you for some sharing in just a bit. Great. I know I said I would stop talking, but I'm talking again. Um, So, folks who are live and on camera, I'll invite you if you want to share in just a minute. Just a reminder, sharing is always an invitation, not a requirement. You are welcome to say, not today. Um, I wanted to share before we started because I've been talking about this, especially if you're in, those of you who are in the membership community, you've all heard me talk about this. I've had a painting sitting on my easel for a very long time, sort of half finished painting, and I was just feeling lost in the middle. I wasn't sure where it was headed. I tend to work intuitively, one step at a time, one layer at a time. I rarely have the completed image in my mind at the start. Sometimes I do. Every now and then I work like that as well. Um, and I had just reached a point where there were sort of two competing images on the canvas, and I couldn't tune into like which one wanted to be like which one sort of wanted to fade to the background and which one wanted to come forward, and so I just kind of stopped. I just kind of stopped there. And it sat on my easel for weeks and weeks without me touching it. And, summer life gets a little nutty here in my house. I've got kids home, all that stuff. And just so I just kind of let it sit there. And um, on our last studio session with our members, I shared with the group, like, what I when we tuned in to like our heart message, what I heard was like, Amy, just do something. Like, just do something. If you don't like it, you can change it. Like, what's the big deal? Like, sometimes we get in our head about every decision we make in a piece of art being sort of the end of the world. And in reality, there are very few things that we do to our artwork, as in life, that aren't reversible if we decide to reverse them. But more so than that, it's really, at the end of the day, and I say this all the right, practice what you preach. I teach this all the time. At the end of the day, the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen is you make a painting you don't particularly like and you paint over it and make something else, right? That is, and nothing worse than that can happen. That is the absolute worst thing that can happen. But it's amazing how much bigger it can feel than that when you're invested in a creation. So I did move through that resistance, and I've since come back to that paint. I don't have it. This is not the part of the house I'm in right now. I always do my calls here because there's a door I can shut where I do my painting. It's very open to the rest of my house and my kids, dog, all of that life. So I'm not in my painting space, so I don't have it to show right now. But yeah, I am in process with that piece again after leaving it for a long time. And I think like I still don't know where it's going. I don't know what the finished piece is going to look like, but I've moved through that sort of resistance I was in with that piece. And always, being on that call in a community and not just by myself at the easel, like that's always the ingredient that like makes me braver, that makes me move through, a piece of creative resistance or something I've been putting off or something new that I'm scared to try. I'm always just a little bit braver when I'm in community than when I'm on my own in my creative life. So that is my share for the day. Since there's just a small group who are live and on camera today, I'm just going to call it your name. And if you'd like to share, unmute and share with us. If not, just give me a wave or say no thank you. That's also fine. Um, Doreen, want to tell us what you're up to today?
Sorry, and sorry I didn't mute myself earlier.
Oh, that's okay. There was no noise. I didn't hear anything coming from your.
Oh, good. Because I was like, oh shoot. I'll read my poem. Um, I can find it. Ah, okay. Um, and then my three words became one sentence, and then I just added to it. So I did my own thing, but it is what it was. So my three words were butterflies, blackberries, and beaches.
Oh, love.
I like alliteration.
Yeah, B words.
I am butterflies kissing blackberries on the beaches of my heart's desire. I am the wings flying free, dreams kept buried with the crabs bubbling under the cascading waves. I am the foam etching my story, ready to be accepted by the sand. And then
Beautiful.
was working on a little butterfly in between.
Oh,
I always get that wrong.
beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that poem. That was
Oh, you're welcome.
amazing.
It may evolve, but it stopped and stuff.
Beautiful. I love how you took the structure I offered and then listened to your own creative voice and brought it where you were going. That is always the invitation in this community.
Yeah.
Start with the structure I
Thank you.
offer if you want, and then take it where your own muse brings you. Thank you. Thanks so much, Doreen.
No problem.
Kelly, what are you up to today?
Well, I think I'm officially awake, so that's a good thing. So thank you for this was a great morning wake up, and it's nice to be with people that are, I don't know, I think you're right, and I can pick up on the energy. Just being in community for me is the part that I don't know. I think it's a revolution in my own mind to be in community to create because I think as women, we are creators. And part of that resistance from a lot of people is we've been socialized to think that we have to stop that when we become grown-ups, you know?
Hmm.
And we have talked about that in multiple gatherings here, but my poem was very simple. Doreen, yours was amazing. I had sunshine, beach, and then flowers.
Hmm.
So I said, I am warm summer sunshine on my skin. I am the beach that calms my chaos. I am the flowers in my yard sharing their beauty. I am part of the energy of summer. So it's pretty simple, but I've been drawing,
Beautiful.
and then I painted some watercolor like spirals with sun and flowers and kind of that outward movement.
Hmm.
Um, and while we were meditating or getting the grounding in, the words that bubbled up for me were, which was interesting that you talked about this, listen with a playful presence. So
Hmm.
that inner child again. I keep coming back to that the last 2 years. It's like, remember who she was, because
Yeah.
she's still there. You just have to honor her. Um, and I think we can all relate to that, right? We stuff it and ignore sometimes. So thank you for doing this morning. It's
Thank you for
always
being here. Kelly's
wonderful.
holding it down over on the West Coast. It's early.
Yeah. I don't, it's not even 8 yet. Shh.
Um, Kelly, that first line of your poem, that I am the sunshine, I was like, that's Kelly. Like, you are. Like, that's you. And you didn't know I was gonna have you write I am in front of those words, but you described yourself. Beautiful. Both of those poems, beautiful. Diamond Heart, what are you up to this morning?
Um, the poem is I am vast, well, sky and water and sun. And then I am vast as the sky. I am clear as water. I am bright as the sun. Infinite, timeless, and eternal. I am. That's what I wrote.
Beautiful.
I
That's so
like it. It's simple. Yeah, I like it. Thank you so much for giving the prompts. That was very nice. And what I was working on is I was doing a portal and
wow.
the mouth was closed. And this is in comparison to me not having a voice and
Hmm.
or finding my voice. So I'm opening the mouth over here because it needs to be open. And that's what I was working today. And yesterday I was working with you one on one, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for your guidance, your insight. It's always wonderful to be
Oh, you're
here.
so welcome. Thank you. Oh, all right. Well, we are just about at the end of our time here. I'm gonna just put myself back in the big box and say goodbye. There we go. All right, everyone. So we are about at the end of our call. Remember, we do this every month, the first Friday of the month, 10 a.m. East Coast time. We'll be here. This call is for everyone, free, inclusive, welcoming. You can send that link out to a friend you think would appreciate this space. Anyone can come in here, and there's nothing to sign up for. There's nothing to do. It's just a simple Zoom link. Um, Those of you who are unable to be here live, again, this will be up on my YouTube channel. You can watch it there. I'll send out the link hopefully later today. It's always my goal to get it, if technology cooperates, get it uploaded and link out by the end of the day on Friday. All right, my friends, if you are here in the States and you are celebrating Independence Day this weekend, or if you're not, um, have a great weekend. And we will be, as always, we will be gathering here again before too long. If you're interested in our July, so usually the workshop opens up like right after this call, but because of the delay in the whole extra Thursday thing, um, it'll be like another week before I open the door for the July workshop. So anyone interested in checking that out, that will be coming soon. Okay, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you soon. Keep
Thank
creating.
you. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.